Have you ever stopped and wondered what really drives you to check your phone for the 10th time in an hour? Or what actually makes you stick to a new workout routine? Well, it turns out there's this incredibly powerful psychological force shaping these actions every single day. And most of the time, we don't even see it happening. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain. Okay, let's start with something we all know. You post a photo, you get that first like, and you feel that little buzz, right? That sudden little hit of satisfaction that makes you want to do it all over again. Why? What is that psychological wire that just got tripped? The one that feels like it's designed to keep you coming back for more. Well, the whole answer boils down to this one simple but seriously profound statement from the psychologist B.F. Skinner. This is the core of everything we're about to talk about. What happens right after you do something is what determines whether you'll ever do it again. And that big idea has a name: operant conditioning. Basically, it's a type of learning where the things you choose to do, your voluntary actions, are controlled by what happens next. So this isn't some passive thing happening to you. It's an active system where we are all constantly, and I mean constantly, learning from the results of our own behavior. So how in the world did we figure all this out? Well, to really get how our own behavior gets shaped, we have to rewind the clock a bit, back to a foundational concept called the law of effect. Our story starts way back in 1898. A psychologist named Edward Thorndike noticed something kind of funny. He saw that cats got way faster at escaping these little puzzle boxes if there was a tasty treat waiting for them on the other side. A satisfying consequence made the behavior stronger. Fast forward a few decades, and B.F. Skinner takes this simple observation, supercharges it, and builds his famous Skinner box to turn it all into a real science. And what Skinner's work showed us is that you can pretty much boil down all behavior change to two fundamental levers. Think of these as the core tools you can use to either encourage or discourage literally any action. And here they are. It's that simple: reinforcement and punishment. You want to see a behavior happen more often? Use reinforcement. You want to see it happen less often? You use punishment. Everything, and I mean everything we're going to talk about next, starts right here with this basic distinction. But of course, it gets a little more interesting. Within those two big levers, there are actually 4 specific methods, and they all hinge on one simple idea. Are you adding something to the mix, or are you taking something away? Let's break it down. First up, positive reinforcement. This is the one we all kind of get without even thinking about it. You do something good, you get something good. Now, in psychology speak, positive just means you're adding a pleasant consequence, like giving a dog a treat to make it more likely to sit again. Okay, now here is where people usually get tripped up. Negative reinforcement. The word negative here doesn't mean bad, it just means to subtract or take away. You actually increase the behavior by removing something annoying. Think about your alarm clock blaring in the morning. You hit the snooze button, right? You're doing that to remove the awful noise. That action, hitting snooze, is now reinforced. You're more likely to do it again tomorrow. On the flip side, you've got positive punishment. And again, positive just means to add. So, to decrease a behavior like showing up late for work, you add an unpleasant consequence. Your manager dumping a pile of extra paperwork on your desk is a perfect, if painful, example. And last but not least, negative punishment. To make a behavior happen less, say a teen breaking curfew, you remove something they like. You take away a desirable thing. In this case, losing phone privileges. The negative here is the subtraction of something good. This table just lays it all out perfectly. Look, the top 2 methods, the reinforcements, their goal is to increase a behavior. The bottom 2, the punishments, their goal is to decrease it. Now look at the action column. You're either adding something or removing something. Your paycheck adds a reward. Fastening your seatbelt removes that annoying beeping. It's a perfect little grid of cause and effect that runs our lives. Okay, so that's the theory. Kind of like reading the instruction manual for human behavior. But how does this stuff actually play out in the real world? Let's go from the original lab experiments all the way to the apps on your phone right now. It really all started here, in the Skinner box. Imagine a hungry little rat placed inside. It's just wandering around, sniffing things, and then, totally by accident, it bumps a lever. Instantly, a food pellet drops down. Well, it doesn't take long for that little rat to connect the dots. Hey, lever means food. And just like that, an accidental action becomes a deliberate, repeated behavior. This principle is so deeply embedded in our lives that we all know it by another name: Grandma's rule.
The fancy term is the Premack principle, and it's a perfect everyday example of positive reinforcement. You use a fun activity, getting dessert, as a reward for doing a not-so-fun one, eating your vegetables. Simple, but it works.
All right, but here's the twist, and this is a big one. Getting a reward every single time, that works, but it's not what truly gets us hooked. The real, raw power, the thing that shapes the most obsessive, deep-seated behaviors, kicks in when the reward is totally random, unpredictable. This is called a variable ratio schedule of reinforcement, and it is the secret sauce behind addiction. It means the reward comes after a random number of tries. This is the engine that powers slot machines. You never know if the next pull is the jackpot. It's why people go fishing for hours just waiting for that one bite. And yes, it's exactly why we compulsively refresh our social media feeds. The next refresh could be the one with a new notification. This randomness creates habits that are incredibly persistent and unbelievably hard to break.
So as you can see, these principles aren't just stuck in some old psychology textbook. They're like an invisible architect, actively designing the world around us and shaping the habits we form every single day.
And once you start looking for it, you see it everywhere. It's used in therapy to help people build better routines for managing things like ADHD. It's in every classroom, encouraging students to participate. It's the entire basis for habit tracking apps, airline loyalty programs, and, of course, the endless scroll and notification systems on every social media platform.
But this kind of power brings up some really big questions, right? When does shaping someone's behavior cross the line into straight-up manipulation? One of the biggest worries is something called the over-justification effect, and it's a big one. Imagine a kid who just loves to draw. It's their passion. If you start giving them a gold star for every single picture, their motivation can actually shift. They stop drawing because they love it and start drawing just to get the star. The passion gets replaced by a transaction, and that can be a real blow to their sense of autonomy.
At the end of the day, operant conditioning is just a tool. It's not inherently good or bad. It can be used to build amazing, life-changing habits, or it can be engineered to create really harmful addictions. The only real defense we have, the only way to harness its power for our own good, is to be aware that it's happening. Understanding this system gives you a brand new lens to see the world through. From your own personal habits to the apps on your phone, you can start to see the hidden forces pulling the levers. So the final question is a simple one. Now that you can see the strings, are you the one pulling them?